My friends, to tell the story of the Exodus at the Passover Seder is to express our heartfelt gratitude to God for our redemption from slavery to freedom. The Seder is the Seudat Hoda'ah, our Thanksgiving meal. Thankfulness is rooted in the signature song of Passover, Dayenu, meaning enough. In this popular song, we recount 15 acts of divine kindness, each of which would have been enough to warrant our gratitude. Dayenu. Each of God's kindnesses would have been enough. Dayenu. My friends, the two Latin words imitatio Dei are a theological concept in Judaism. Our obligation to imitate God's ways, to emulate God's actions and attributes, to embody divine qualities in our lives, a reflection of our being created in God's image. By striving to emulate God's character and actions, we also demonstrate our gratitude for his kindness. As described in the Talmud, just as God clothed the naked in the case of Adam and Eve, so too must we provide for the homeless and the downtrodden. Just as God visited the sick in the case of Abraham following his circumcision, so must we visit the sick. And just as God comforted the mourner in the case of Isaac after his father's passing, so must we comfort the mourner. And just as God buried the dead, as in the case of Moses, so must we bury the dead. Imitatio Dei, emulating the ways of God. My friends, April 2nd was hailed as Liberation Day by Donald Trump when the president ordered reciprocal tariffs on America's trading partners. 12 weeks into his administration, President Trump is not slowing down. The president has signed 115 executive orders since his inauguration on January 20th, far outpacing any American president in history. He has upended long-standing government policies and has made major cuts to the federal workforce through an avalanche of executive orders and actions. And he has acted with dizzying speed to reorder the American economy and global diplomacy, a frenetic pace, legislating at warp speed. And yet, according to a recent Fox News survey, many Americans feel that President Trump is moving too quickly in trying to reshape the federal government. Imitatio Dei. Perhaps the president should examine the Jewish people's Liberation Day, Passover, and the methodology applied by God. The Torah tells us that following the exodus from Egypt, God deliberately avoided taking the Israelites on the shorter road into the promised land. Instead, God led the Jewish nation in a roundabout way to teach us an inescapable truth. Beware of shortcuts to distant goals. A frenetic, record-setting pace is simply too much too soon. We must avoid traveling at twice the speed of sound and half the speed of sense. We all want the president to succeed, to challenge convention, and to bring fresh thinking. And yet, a lot of things are happening with little time for the public to digest. The wild market fluctuations of the past week reflect this widespread sentiment that things are moving just a little too fast. Imitatio Dei, the liberation day of Passover and God's methodology. Beware of shortcuts to distant goals. Slow and steady wins the race. A Chag kasher v'sameach, a joyous Passover to you and to your loved ones.